The Netflix Sandman was released this morning. As promised, here's the review of episode 1. Now, it's essentially a straight adaptation of the first book of the comic series. The introduction is pretty darn good. I love all the nods it gives to the original series, including Jessamy the Raven flying through a freshly papered wall. Most of the story takes place more or less as it was in the comic, though some details were simplified to make Alex Burgess the protagonist of the episode. However, I'm going to focus on a couple of the changes. Most importantly, Corinthian has been changed to an arc villain, and he appears in several scenes in episode 1. I have somewhat mixed feelings on this. On one level, it's good from a narrative perspective to bring your villain in early and have them integral to the story. And many adaptations of episodic works tend to do something similar. Having Corinthian visit Dream in his captivity is very different in premise, but it does give some justification to the Burgess' ability to keep Dream trapped. However, my biggest problem is that they made the hunt for the Corinthian the basis for Morpheus' capture. This means that Netflix has written out Overture, which showed how Burgess, a cheap conjurer, could do this, since Morpheus was on his last legs after rewriting reality. So in this version, Dream was captured more or less at full strength by a minor sorcerer. I don't particularly care for that. Additionally, this conflict doesn't seem to make sense with the characters. Corinthian is powerful as a nightmare, but he's a Constantine-level villain, while Dream is above Superman level. Corinthian knows he has no chance at any sort of conflict. He shouldn't relish a meeting with the Dream Lord. He should fear and run from his creator. In the comics, the beginning and end of his goals was to have fun, which is why Dream was so disgusted with him in the serial convention. Having a goal to change the world would actually gain the Dream Lord's favor. Moving on, I do wish they had kept the eternal waking torment that Morpheus gave Alex Burgess in the comic. Here they gave him endless sleep, which is just not nearly creative enough. Additionally, with the murder of Jessamy, it would be justified vengeance, rather than the cruel wrath of an angry god against a man who is too fearful to unleash a tiger in his basement. One final thing that does bother me, definitely, is an issue with the timeline. The bulk of the story takes place in Edwardian England. However, everyone treats Alex Burgess more like a servant than the son of the Lord of the Manor. This bothers me. Everyone outside of his father should be addressing him as Master Alex, because he is the son of the Lord of the Manor. I wouldn't mind if it was pointed out how unusual this disrespect is, but as a period piece, it's an important thing, and missing something so basic does not bode well for a series that has a substantial chunk of its runtime in historical periods. Finally, I'd like to note that the main story has been moved up to 2020, as Dream reveals that he was in prison for over a century. While I suppose it does make it easier on production, this means they will need to reference Dream missing a meeting with Hobgoblin whenever they do that episode. Overall, I would say that it was everything I could ask for in an adaptation. While I don't care for Tom Sturridge looking so young, his voice and his glower gives the force that you would expect from the Dream Lord. And we'll see how it'll work going forward. And so, thanks for listening.